You told yourself it's over. You tried to move on. So, why are they still in your mind every single day? Not in your life, but inside your thoughts, controlling moments you never gave permission to. You can be fine, even smiling, and suddenly they're back. One memory, one feeling, and it pulls you deep again, like nothing ever ended. And you don't understand it. Why can't I let go, even when they're gone? But here's what you haven't seen yet. It's not them holding you. It's something inside you that keeps bringing them back. And once you see it clearly, you won't just move on. You'll finally be free. What you feel is not their presence. It's your mind, keeping them alive. They are not here anymore. Not in your life. Not in your world. Not in your future. They are gone. And yet, somehow, they still feel close. You wake up, and their memory is already there. You sit in silence, and it feels like they're still speaking to you. You're doing something simple, and suddenly, they appear in your thoughts without warning. A small moment, a random feeling, a quiet trigger, comma, and just like that, they're back again. And the most confusing part, it doesn't feel like imagination. It feels real. It feels like a connection that never ended. And that's what makes it so hard to let go. Because you start asking yourself, if they're gone, why do they still feel so close? But here's the truth, the one most people never see clearly. Your mind does not understand loss the way reality does. Reality moves on. Reality ends things. Reality closes doors. But your mind doesn't close anything that felt important. It keeps what touched you deeply. It saves what created strong emotion. It replays what once made you feel something powerful, again and again and again. Not because they are still part of your life, but because your mind has not finished processing what they meant to you, so it brings them back. In thoughts, in memories, in feelings that rise without permission, and slowly, without you even noticing, it starts to feel like they never really left. But they did. What you're feeling right now is not their presence. It's not them reaching out. It's not some hidden connection. It's your mind, holding on to something that once felt alive. A memory, a feeling, a moment that your mind doesn't want to release yet. And until you see this clearly, until you separate what is real from what is being replayed inside you, it will keep feeling like they're still with you. Not because they are, but because your mind is keeping them alive. You don't miss them. You miss the version of you that existed with them. Take a quiet moment and ask yourself honestly, what is it that you really miss? Is it truly them, or is it how you felt when you were with them? The way your day felt lighter, the way small things made you smile, the way you felt seen, noticed, important. There was a version of you that only existed in that space. A version that laughed more, that felt more alive, that didn't overthink every little thing. And now, that version feels far away. So your mind keeps going back, not just to them, but to who you were when they were part of your life. Because it believes that's where you felt whole. That's where something inside you felt complete. And without them, it feels like something is missing. But here's the truth most people never face. You were never complete because of them. You just felt more connected to yourself in that moment. They didn't create that feeling. They only reflected it back to you. They were a mirror, not the source. But your mind confused the two. So now it keeps telling you, if you want that feeling back, you need them back. And that's where the attachment grows stronger, because you're not chasing a person anymore. You're chasing a feeling, a version of yourself that you think only existed because of them. But that's not true. That version of you is still inside you. The confidence, the warmth, the ability to feel deeply. It never belonged to them. It was always yours. You just forgot how to access it without them being there. And that's why letting go feels so difficult. Because it feels like you're losing a part of yourself. But you're not. You're only losing the illusion that they were the reason you felt that way. And the moment you see this clearly, something begins to shift. You stop looking for yourself in someone else. You stop believing your happiness is tied to their presence. And slowly, you begin to return to yourself, not the version that depended on them, but the version that was always yours to become. Your mind clings to familiar pain because it fears unfamiliar peace. There is something your mind does that you don't notice at first. It doesn't always choose what is good for you. It chooses what feels familiar, even if that familiar thing is pain, even if it hurt you, even if it drained you, even if it left you empty. Because to your mind, familiar means safe, not peaceful, not healthy, just known. And unknown things, even if they are better for you, feel uncomfortable. So when this person left your life, you didn't just lose them. You lost a pattern, a routine of emotions, a cycle your mind got used to. The thinking, the remembering, the hoping, the hurting. It all became familiar. So now, even though they are gone, your mind keeps going back to that same emotional place. Not because it's good for you, but because it knows it, it understands it. It has lived there before. And stepping into peace, a life where they are no longer in your thoughts, feels strange, feels empty, feels like something is missing, because your mind hasn't learned that space yet. It hasn't learned how to sit in silence without filling it with their memory. It hasn't learned how to feel calm without reaching for something intense. So it pulls you back, again and again and again, back into thoughts that hurt, back into memories that reopen old feelings, back into a version of reality that no longer exists. And you start to believe, I can't move on. I still feel something, so it must mean something. But it doesn't. It just means your mind is used to that feeling. It just means your mind hasn't adjusted yet. Because peace, real peace, feels unfamiliar at first. It doesn't rush your heart. It doesn't pull you into emotional highs and lows. It feels quiet. It feels still. And in the beginning, that stillness can feel uncomfortable, almost like something is missing. But nothing is missing. You're just stepping out of noise and into something your mind is not used to yet. And that's why it feels strange. That's why your mind keeps going back. Not because you belong there, but because you haven't stayed long enough in peace to realize that it's where you were always meant to be. The more you try to forget, the deeper you trap them in your mind. At some point, you made a decision. I need to forget them. I can't keep thinking like this. I just have to move on. And it sounds right. It feels like strength, like you're finally taking control. So you start pushing their thoughts away. You distract yourself. You avoid anything that reminds you of them. You try to force your mind into silence. But something strange begins to happen. The more you try not to think about them, the more they appear. A memory shows up out of nowhere. A feeling rises when you least expect it. Even small things, a place, a song, a moment, suddenly pull you right back. And then you start asking yourself, why is this getting worse? Why can't I just forget? But here's what your mind is doing behind the scenes. It doesn't understand the command, don't think. The moment you say, I don't want to think about them, your mind still focuses on them. Because you just gave it a direction with their name inside it. So instead of letting go, you're still holding on in a different way, through resistance, through force, through constant mental struggle. And resistance is still attention, and attention is what keeps anything alive inside your mind. So every time you fight the thought, you feed it. Every time you try to push it away, you remind your mind that it matters. And slowly, without realizing it, you create a loop. The thought comes, you resist it, it comes back stronger, you resist again, and the cycle continues. Not because you're weak, not because you can't move on, but because you're using the wrong approach. You're trying to force silence instead of allowing release, because real release does not come from pushing something away. It comes from no longer giving it energy, from seeing the thought without reacting to it, from letting it pass without holding on to it or fighting it. And in the beginning, this feels strange because you're used to reacting, used to controlling, used to trying to fix everything inside your mind. But the truth is, the more you stop fighting, the more space begins to open. The thought comes, but it doesn't stay as long. The memory appears, but it doesn't pull you as deep. And slowly, that intensity starts to fade. Not because you forced it away, but because you stopped feeding it. And this is the shift most people never make. They keep trying to forget when the real freedom comes from no longer needing to, because the moment you stop chasing thoughts away is the moment they finally begin to leave on their own. You're not holding on to them, you're holding on to unfinished feelings. If you slow down and really look inside, you'll start to notice something deeper. It's not really about them anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. What you're holding on to is what never got a chance to fully settle inside you. The words you wanted to say, but never did. The questions that were never answered. The moments that ended too suddenly, without meaning, without clarity. The feelings you pushed down because you didn't know how to face them at the time. All of that is still there, quiet, but unfinished. And your mind keeps going back, not because it wants them, but because it wants completion. It wants to understand. It wants to close something that still feels open inside you. That's why certain memories hit you harder than others. That's why some thoughts feel heavier, deeper, more emotional. Because they are not just memories. They are emotions that were never fully felt. And when something is not fully felt, it doesn't disappear. It stays. It waits. It shows up again, in thoughts, in dreams, in quiet moments when you're alone. Not to hurt you, but to be seen, to be understood, to be released. But instead, you try to move past it quickly. You distract yourself. You avoid feeling too deeply. You tell yourself, I should be over this by now. And in doing that, you leave those feelings unfinished. So your mind brings them back again, not as punishment, but as a reminder. Something inside you is still waiting, not for them, but for your attention, for your honesty, for your willingness to sit with what you feel without running from it. Because the truth is, you don't need them to come back. To feel complete, you don't need answers from them. To find peace, you don't need one last moment. To finally let go, what you need is to give yourself what you never gave in that moment. Space, understanding, permission to feel everything without judging it. Because the moment you stop avoiding your own emotions is the moment they begin to lose their weight. You feel it, you face it, you allow it to pass through you instead of staying trapped inside you. And slowly, that unfinished feeling begins to close on its own, not because they came back, but because you finally showed up for yourself. And in that moment, you're no longer holding on to them. You're simply letting go. of what was never finished inside you. The story you repeat is the chain that keeps you attached. Listen carefully to what your mind keeps saying when no one else is around. It's not silent, it's telling a story. The same scenes, the same memories, the same questions that never seem to end. What if I said something different? What if I stayed? What if they come back? Over and over. You replay it. You adjust small details. You imagine different endings. You go back to moments that are already gone and try to rewrite them in your head. And each time you do this, it feels like you're getting closer to understanding, but you're not. You're going deeper into the story because your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what you keep repeating. To your mind, repetition feels like truth. So the more you replay it, the more important it feels, the more real it becomes, until one day, it doesn't feel like a memory anymore. It feels like something you're still living inside. And that's how the chain forms. Not because of them, but because of the story you keep telling yourself about them, a story where they still matter. A story where things are unfinished. A story where something could still change. And as long as that story continues, so does your attachment, because your mind is still living in it, still investing energy into it, still hoping, still questioning, still holding on. But here's the part most people never realize. You are the one telling that story. You are the one replaying it. And that means you are also the one who can stop it, not by forcing it to disappear, not by fighting every thought, but by simply not continuing it. The moment the story begins, you notice it. You don't follow it. You don't add to it. You don't build it further. You just let it pass. And at first, it will come back again, stronger, louder, more convincing, because your mind is used to that pattern. But if you stop feeding it, if you stop continuing the story, something begins to change. The scenes become shorter, the emotions become lighter, the pull becomes weaker, until one day it no longer controls you, because the chain was never them, it was the story. And the moment you stop repeating it is the moment the chain finally breaks. You made them irreplaceable. Your mind is still protecting that illusion. There was a moment when they became more than just a person in your life. Slowly, without you noticing, you gave them meaning. You made them special, not just important, but different. You told yourself, no one understands me like they do. No one makes me feel this way. No one could ever replace them. And in that moment, your mind didn't just remember them. It elevated them. It placed them in a space where they felt rare, almost impossible to replace. And once your mind creates something like that, it starts protecting it, because losing something special feels heavier than losing something normal. So even when they are gone, your mind holds on to that image, that idea that they were unique, one of a kind, the only person who could ever make you feel that way. And this is where the illusion becomes powerful, because you're no longer attached to who they really were. You're attached to what you believed they were, a version of them that your mind created, shaped, and slowly perfected over time. And the more you think about them, the more polished that version becomes. The flaws fade away, the pain becomes softer, the memories become selective, until all that remains is an ideal, not a reality. And that's what your mind is protecting, not the truth, but the illusion of who they meant to you. Because if that illusion breaks, it feels like something inside you will collapse. It feels like you will have to accept that they were not as irreplaceable as you believed, that what you felt was not something only they could give. And that realization feels uncomfortable, almost painful. So your mind avoids it. It keeps them in that elevated place, It keeps reminding you they were different, they were special. You won't find that again, but that's not truth. That's attachment, speaking through memory. Because what made them feel special was not just who they were, it was how you experienced them. Your openness, your emotions, your way of connecting. All of that came from you, not from them alone. But your mind linked it to them, and now it believes that losing them means losing that feeling forever. And that's why it keeps protecting that illusion, because it thinks it's protecting something valuable. But in reality, it's keeping you stuck, holding on to something that no longer exists, keeping you from seeing that what you felt was never limited to one person. And the moment you start seeing this clearly, something shifts. They stop feeling irreplaceable. They start becoming human again. Not perfect, not rare, not above everyone else. Just someone who was part of your life for a moment in time. And in that moment, the illusion weakens. And when the illusion weakens, so does the attachment. And slowly, without force, without struggle, you begin to let them go. You're not waiting for closure. You're avoiding the truth that frees you. You keep telling yourself, I just need closure. One last conversation. One clear answer. Something that will finally make everything make sense. And it feels reasonable. It feels like that's the missing piece. Like if they just explained, if they just said something, if you just understood why it ended, you would finally feel at peace. But look deeper. Is it really closure you're waiting for? Or is it something else? Because the truth is, even if they came back and gave you every answer, it still wouldn't feel enough. You would question it. You would analyze it. You would still replay it in your mind, trying to understand more. Because what you're really waiting for is not their explanation. It's a feeling of peace that you think they can give you. But they can't. They never could. Because peace doesn't come from someone else's words. It comes from your own acceptance. And that's the part you've been avoiding. The truth that feels heavy. The truth that feels final. The truth that leaves no space for what if. The truth that they left. It ended. And not everything in life comes with a clean explanation. Not every connection gets a proper ending. Not every story is meant to make sense. And your mind struggles with that because it wants clarity. It wants a reason. It wants something it can hold on to. So, instead of accepting the truth, it creates a loop. If I just understood, if I just knew why, if I just got closure. And this loop keeps you attached, not to them, but to the hope that something will still resolve. That something is still unfinished. But here's what sets you free. Nothing is missing. There is no final answer coming. There is no perfect explanation waiting for you. And that may feel uncomfortable at first. But it's also where your freedom begins. Because the moment you stop waiting is the moment you stop holding on. The moment you accept that some things end without clarity is the moment your mind starts to quiet down. Not because you forced it, but because there is nothing left to chase. No more questions, no more imagined endings, just reality as it is. And in that acceptance, you don't feel empty. You feel lighter because you're no longer depending on someone else to give you what only you can give yourself, peace. And the moment you see this clearly, you stop waiting for closure and you start stepping into freedom. The moment you become aware, their control begins to collapse. For a long time, it felt automatic. The thoughts came and you followed them. The memories appeared and you got pulled into them. The feelings rose and you became them. It all happened so fast, so naturally, that you never questioned it. You thought, this is just how it is. This is how I feel. This is something I can't control. But then, something small begins to change. Not outside, Inside, a moment of pause, a quiet realization. You start to notice the thought, instead of immediately becoming it. You start to see the memory, instead of getting lost inside it. And for the first time, there is a small space between you and what your mind is showing you. And that space changes everything, because control only exists when something is happening without your awareness, when thoughts run and you don't even see them running, when emotions rise and you don't even question them. That's when they feel powerful. That's when they feel like they own you. But the moment you become aware, you step out of that automatic cycle. You're no longer inside the storm. You're watching it. You're noticing. This is just a thought. This is just a memory. This is something my mind is replaying. And in that moment, the intensity begins to weaken. Not all at once. Not completely. But enough for you to feel the shift. The thought still comes, but it doesn't take over as quickly. The memory still appears, but it doesn't pull you as deep. The feeling still rises, but it doesn't stay as long. And, slowly, you begin to see something clearly. It was never them controlling you. It was your unconscious reaction to your own thoughts. And now, that reaction is changing. You are no longer feeding every thought. You are no longer believing everything your mind shows you. You are no longer getting pulled into every emotional wave. And that's where your power returns. Not by forcing yourself to feel different, not by trying to erase the past, but by simply becoming aware of what is happening inside you, because awareness is the beginning of freedom. The more you notice, the less you react. The less you react, the less control those thoughts have over you. And one day, without even realizing when it happened, you will look back and see that the thing that once controlled your mind has quietly lost its power. Not because it disappeared, but because you stopped being unconscious to it. You saw it clearly. And in that clarity, it could no longer control you. Letting go isn't losing them. It's finally choosing yourself. For so long, it has felt like letting go means losing something important. Like you're leaving behind a part of your life, a part of your story, a part of your heart. It feels like if you stop thinking about them, if you stop feeling this way, then everything you shared, everything you felt, will disappear. And that thought scares you, so you hold on, not because it still makes you happy, but because it feels like letting go would erase something meaningful. But look deeper. They are already gone. They are not part of your present anymore. They are not shaping your life right now. What you are holding on to is not them. It's the memory, the feeling, the idea of what they once meant to you. And carrying that has slowly been taking you away from yourself, from your peace, from your present, from the life that is still waiting for you to fully live. Because every time you go back, you leave yourself behind. Every time you replay the past, you step out of the moment you are in, and without realizing it, you start living more in memory than in reality. That's what holding on does. It doesn't keep them alive. It keeps you stuck. But letting go is not what you think it is. It's not forgetting them. It's not pretending they never mattered. It's not denying what you felt. Letting go is simply choosing not to carry something that is no longer yours to carry. It's deciding that your energy, your attention, your life belongs to you again. It's saying, I will not give my present to something that lives in the past. And at first, this feels uncomfortable because you're used to holding on, used to going back, used to finding something familiar in those thoughts. But slowly, something begins to shift. You start feeling lighter. You start noticing the present more. You start reconnecting with yourself without needing someone else to complete that feeling. And for the first time, you realize something powerful. You were never meant to keep carrying them. You were meant to grow beyond them, to learn, to feel, and then to return to yourself, stronger, clearer, more present, because letting go is not the end of something, it's the beginning of you coming back to your own life. And in that moment, you don't feel like you lost them, you feel like you finally stopped losing yourself. And that is where real freedom begins. There comes a quiet moment, not loud, not dramatic, but real, where you stop chasing the past and you just sit with yourself. No more questions, no more what if, no more trying to understand something that already ended, just silence. And for the first time, it doesn't feel heavy, it feels calm, because you finally see it clearly. They were never holding you. Your mind was. And now, you're no longer trapped inside that loop. You're no longer giving your energy to something that is no longer part of your life. You're here, in this moment, with yourself, and that is where your life has always been waiting. Not in memories, not in someone who left, but right here, where you are. And slowly, you begin to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Space, clarity, freedom. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer holding on to what hurts you. You didn't lose them. You found yourself. And from here, everything begins again. Not with the past, but with you.